What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another episode of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. I am your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me, as always, are Robert DeFelice.
Hello.
And Callum Wiggins.
Theme from Survivor.
What?
The theme from Survivor.
I don't know what the theme from Survivor is, so I just decided to just say the words and just hope that it would come out in some sort of jaunty theme.
It's like or something. I forget exactly. I haven't watched that in years. I don't know what this has to do with it. Survivor Series.
Survivor Series, yeah.
That's what we're going with.
This podcast is sponsored by Milton Bradley Karate Fighters.
We're gonna give you codes for Mortal Kombat in the middle of this.
Hell yeah.
Now, what we're going to be doing today is a brand new segment. This is called Time Machine Dream Team. And to give you a little bit of backstory, what this spawns from is Rob, about 2-3 years ago, I think at this point, had tossed out in a random chat on Facebook, hey, how about we do Time Machine Dream Match? And I think it was Jordan had misinterpreted it as Time Machine Dream Team. And I'm like, you know what? I like that phrasing better.
Yeah, because it rhymes.
So we put this on the back burner because I couldn't think of logos and stuff for it, or like an actual way to get around doing the whole thing and everything. And now we kind of figured it out. So what we're going to do is we're basically just going to talk for like an hour. We're going to cut it off at some point because we have to, because we've already thought of like 50-something ideas. And it's essentially just, we got Survivor Series coming up. So what we want to do is talk about Survivor Series teams that have themes to them. Not just like, I mean, what we got going on right now. The Raw men's team, the SmackDown women's team, that kind of thing. There's no real theme to it. It used to be that we would have the 4x4s, and it's Hacksaw Jim Duggan's team, and this one's called the, one of the
Visionaries.
Yeah, like different things that would go in that kind of like theme behind them. And that's what we want to kind of do here. So to kind of give you an idea to start off with, and this isn't how exactly we're going to follow the whole thing along, but it's a good way to start. If we were to have like Team D-Generation X, and we had 5 people to pick from, we're going to go with the 5 structure, not the 4, because Survivor Series used to have 4. They pretty much have 5 now. Who would be the 5 people to be on Team D-Generation X? And this isn't, by the way, like a Mount Rushmore. They don't have to be the 5 best of anything in particular. So if we do have like the team of the Divas wrestlers, it doesn't have to be the 5 best Divas. It's just who would you work with on a team. I would think that D-Generation X is pretty much a simple way to go. We do have more than 5 people to pick from. We have the main 5 that I'm pretty sure that we're all going to agree on. And we have Chyna, and we have Tori, and we have Kane was kind of a part of it, and Rick Rude, and whatever. But I'm pretty sure that the basis that we would go with would be Triple H, Shawn Michaels, New Age Outlaws, and X-Pac, right?
That is correct.
I guess
Callum clearly wants Tori on the...
Well, no, I was thinking, Hornswoggle, Stephanie McMahon, Tori, and Rick Rude, and that one guy that did the impression of Owen Hart in the
Jason Sensation.
Yeah. Oh, and the DX band, obviously. They should be.
Oh, of course.
Chris Warren.
They need to sing the national anthem at the end too.
No, I think those 5. I think the only one you can make an argument for is maybe switching out X-Pac for Chyna instead.
And the only way I think you do that is if you put them against Team NWO, and you have X-Pac as 6 over on that side, and then I would do Hogan, Hall, Nash, and Macho Man as the other 4 built around 6.
See, with Team NWO, I feel like we're all, and we don't have to all agree. It's not like the Mount Rushmore where we have to come to a consensus, but we probably will. I think that we're all in agreement. Hall, Nash, and Hogan. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
At that point, though, I don't tend to think of 6. I tend to think, oddly enough, Big Show, the Giant.
He would be the guy, if I wasn't going to put X-Pac in, I'd put the Giant in.
And I don't know who I'd go for the fifth one, because like Ted DiBiase was a part of it pretty early on, but he's not like an NWO guy to me. And I do kind of think like Buff Bagwell, but do I really want Buff Bagwell to be on the team?
Yeah.
Macho Man was a part of it for a long while. Sting was a part of NWO. I mean, I know Hogan, Nash, and Hall. And I'm pretty sure I'd go Big Show. Or, well, the Giant. But man, at that point, I don't know who I'd go for a fifth.
I would definitely, alongside those three, one of the ones that I would go for is Scott Steiner.
Yeah, you know what? He probably would be the fifth one for me, too. Now that you brought that up.
His whole persona that he's kind of carried on for the next 20-odd years has been the Scott Steiner from the NWO, not the Scott Steiner from the Steiner brothers. So, yeah, I'd probably put him in, and then the Giant would be a good shout. Macho Man. I think you could make an argument to just put Eric Bischoff on the team, just because he was the head honcho of it for a while. Even though obviously he's not a wrestler, but you don't necessarily have to be a wrestler to be on a Survivor Series too.
You know what, though? If we're going to get fun with it, I would argue some celebrity involvement. Mike Tyson on one side, Dennis Rodman on the other.
I think that would probably get you a decent amount of money from the Saudi Arabian government.
I think so.
What about Conan?
Nah.
Let me tell you about Conan. This is a guy who did not get picked up in the invasion because he called the company and said, "Yo, it's K-Dog," and nobody knew who that was, so nobody called him back.
I mean, when you say, "Oh, what about Conan?" I could just go, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Virgil.
Yeah, the legend, Soul Train Jones.
Yeah, exactly. No, definitely, we should put. Just trying to think of something. Stevie Ray definitely has to be on this.
Oh God, of course, he represented them in War Games, for God's sake.
Well, Stevie Ray, The Disciple, Horace Hogan, Scott Norton, and Louis Piccoli. Let's go with that.
That is awful.
I feel quite bad that you put Scott Norton's name in there. He doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, Scott Norton deserves better. Hold on.
Oh, come on. Scott Norton was one of those dudes in WCW that when I would watch WCW, I was like, who the fuck's this guy?
He's a legend. He's a legend in New Japan.
Let me kind of clear that up a little bit. Let's go with Virgil, Stevie Ray, Horace Hogan, The Disciple, and Fake Sting.
But then there's no room for David Flair.
Well, he wasn't in the NWO.
According to Wikipedia.
He was. That was when he turned on Rick.
Good lord.
And Torrie Wilson tempted him over to the dark side.
Of course.
Ron and Don Harris, Disco Inferno was in there.
Yeah, should we just... Fuck this. Should we just go with the straight NWO 2000 lineup of Bret Hart, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Jeff Jarrett, and what? Maybe another one of Virgil?
He wasn't there at the 2000 point.
Should Virgil just be on any team?
Virgil's on every team, I think.
He either has to be on no teams or on all the teams. It's kind of the rule with Virgil.
So that's kind of what we're going with here. We're just going to kind of toss out different things like that. We didn't plan ahead of time to have like a full list of every possible person available, so we're going to probably skip over people just by not remembering that they were a part of the mix. But that's kind of what we're doing here. So we invite you to do the same thing and to tell us the things that we were potentially forgetting about by dropping a comment below. And if you are on the audio-only streams like iTunes or Google Play or Spotify or Stitcher or anything like that, you can't leave a comment. I don't know why I had a random accent there. So head on over to YouTube, and while you're over there, like the video, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that already, ring that little bell for notifications, and as I said, drop a comment, tell us what you think of our different themes, theme teams, and everything like that. And again, we're not going to come anywhere close to all the different teams on this list or the consensus for these kind of things. So it's going to be kind of madcap.
Fun.
Yeah, it's more of the fun types of things instead of like, well, we have a full list of things to break down. We need to get through every single little thing or whatever like that. So I want to toss out one that I think is a very basic one that we obviously would have to do, which is the All-Americans. This is something that they actually had done before with the Survivor Series teams, and we wouldn't just be like, okay, well, the All-Americans is the All-Americans team, because what would be the point in that? But there are so many different ways that you can take this. Does it have to be people that are All-American as far as like their gimmick is entirely just about that? Because the All-Americans, the 4-on-4 that they originally had was Lex Luger, the Steiner brothers, and the fucking Undertaker. Undertaker, I would assume nobody would end up putting on the All-Americans team, right?
Well, if you're putting the American Badass, I think he'd be maybe one of the first names I'd consider for an All-Americans team.
He wouldn't come anywhere close to me. I would be like, all right, Hogan, Luger, like, because we're going back in time. Obviously, that's Time Machine Dream Team. The Lex Express type of Lex Luger. I'd probably put the Patriot on there, despite the fact that he was only there for a short amount of time. I don't know about another two.
All right, so
Jack Swagger, maybe? The All-American, American.
I would go with, like, peak Hogan, so like 88, 89 Hogan. Definitely Lex Express, Lex Luger from 93. I would go with maybe a 2001, 2002 Kurt Angle, because he did,
Yeah, Angle, yeah.
He did win a gold medal for our country in the Olympics. I would absolutely put John Cena on this team. There is nobody more American than John Cena, I really think.
It's another good one, yeah.
And to round it out, Kenzo Suzuki, because he loves America. No. To round it out, the Patriot is a good one. No, Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, I was about to say Slaughter has to be considered for this. I would personally, I would go Hogan definitely, and Slaughter. I would maybe take out the Lex Express, maybe because I just don't like Lex Luger, or just don't like him as a wrestler, and would trade in Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, Duggan's another good one, yeah.
Obviously not when he was part of Team Canada, but prior to that. Patriots. I don't know whether I could have the Patriot and Kurt Angle on the same team just because they both have the same entrance music, so that would be pretty awkward.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's not even like either of them ever used any theme other than that too that you could use. Like Slaughter had the Patriot and Angle theme for like a week.
TNA theme.
Nah.
But yeah, I mean, I would go Angle over the Patriot just because Angle has a lot more longevity to him, and he pretty much always just wore attire that was red, white, and blue adorned. And then you could probably put Cena in as just a big patriot that seems to believe only the big American values. Like if you're the guy that announces to an entire wrestling group that you killed America's killed Osama bin Laden, you're pretty American.
I would argue I'd put Cena right next to Hogan as has to be on this team. I might even waver on a few like, Luger or even Kurt.
Based off of these names, now that, you reminded me of a couple more people, I would say Hogan's a guarantee, Cena's a guarantee, Slaughter's a guarantee, and that those remaining two would, I don't know, that's, well, I'd take the Patriot out maybe and make him just kind of like a guy on the side, like their manager, because they've done that before. And I could see taking Luger out. I could see Duggan maybe being in there instead. I don't know. That's tough. I'd go Hogan, Angle, Cena, Slaughter, and then I guess probably Duggan with Patriot on the side. I'd probably take Luger out.
For purposes of just making our lives that much easier, we are sticking to just WWF, WWE rosters throughout time.
I mean, WCW maybe. Maybe ECW, kind of depending on the mix of if they were like sort of a part of it, but I think it's easier to do WWE.
Also, he missed out on the American Dream.
I was going to mention Dusty, and when I thought about Red, White, and Blue, Flat Top Sting and Red, White, and Blue face paint is a great visual.
Yeah, but I don't think he was.
Go ahead.
I just don't think he was especially patriotic. He was just a guy in face paint.
Fair enough.
Admittedly, there's part of me that always thinks that Sting's from Canada for no reason.
What? Because he does the fucking sharpshooter, and
It must be that.
Your brain does that to you.
It must be, because there's no reason for me to think that. Isn't he from like Oklahoma or something like that? Like
California.
California, yeah, there you go. I couldn't even think of it off the top of my head, but yeah, like I don't know why. There's part of me that's always just kind of like he's from like Montreal or something. And then I'm like, yeah, he isn't. Like
you just see him do the sharpshooter, and you're like, yeah, it's got to be Canadian.
Yeah. For that record, I mean, we just did All Americans. Why don't we do Team UK? Give Callum a little chance here to talk about who he thinks represents that the best when it comes to those. I'd go British Bulldog as a guarantee.
Well, I sometimes feel like you might need to push British Bulldog down a little bit because like he's more famous for his work in Canada more than he is for the UK. I mean, he's
like
really
Sting.
Big. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll put Sting on Team UK as well then. No, I think British Bulldog, if you've got the name the British Bulldog, you probably should find yourself on Team UK. I think Regal has to be on it.
Regal, yeah.
Just because of how just such a long tenure in the wrestling business in general. And I think he's developed enough of a reputation that people just want him on that at some point. I think I could make an argument for people that obviously aren't very familiar to the WWE audience, but someone like a Giant Haystacks, who wrestled in WCW once as Loch Ness, would be is somebody who's like just hugely well known. Basically, when you talk about professional wrestling in the UK, people say, "Oh, I remember Giant Haystacks and Big Daddy," even though they were like 30 years ago, and anyone who's younger than that mostly doesn't even know who the hell their people were talking about. That was back in the days when British TV was littered with a lot of professional wrestling on just free TV. So I would personally put him on there, but I obviously know that most people listening might not even know who this guy is. But rest assured, he probably weigh about as much as the combined force of the opposing team that they're up against. He was about 600 pounds, I think. So other people for the UK side, I'm trying to think because I might put Wade Barrett or like Bad News Barrett, but I don't know whether his run has enough longevity behind it. Maybe someone like WWE doesn't have a lot of like great UK wrestlers. They do have great UK wrestlers, but none that really like stood out because there's never been a UK WWE champion as far as I'm aware. So
would McIntyre be on this?
McIntyre could be, yeah. I mean, he's Scottish, but that's obviously UK. That covers the UK. You could put Pete Dunne in it, longest reigning United Kingdom champion.
Finlay,
yeah. I think obviously, yeah, from the Belfast side of things. So if you wanted to like cover all areas, if you wanted to make sure that you had someone from England, someone from Northern Ireland, someone from Wales, and someone from Scotland, probably put so British Bulldog, William Regal could be the two England representatives, and then you have Finlay from Northern Ireland, Drew McIntyre from Scotland, and Mark Andrews from Wales.
And you just taught me a lot about why it's the United Kingdom. So we're learning stuff here.
We have 4 countries. I know, like trying to teach Americans geography is like trying to like drain blood from a stump, but it's like.
Listen, I don't know where Sting is from in Canada, but
you realize, as ignorant Americans, we see that flag and we go, okay, English accent, tea and crumpets, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much just that's about it. And if somebody could say like, I'm from Northern Ireland, and you'd be like, well, that's not from England.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people in the Conservative Party in the UK that want to see it that way as well. So,
well, would this be Team Brexit?
Podcast, yeah.
Is that what they would call
Team Brexit. I mean, that'll have Doug Williams on it, obviously. He's Mr. Brexit. But,
yeah, I don't think that people would bring in like Mason Ryan and put him on this team, or
He might be on Team France because of the Cirque du Soleil thing that he does nowadays.
That's what he's doing?
Yeah, he joined Cirque du Soleil.
Huh.
I don't know if he's still doing that, but that's definitely what he left to do.
That's strange. Is he like trapeze or something?
He's probably just one of the base guys that catches the people who.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Like just like the big muscle head in the middle of just holding this giant trapeze of people. But no, he definitely wouldn't be involved in it. I wouldn't put someone like. I'm trying to think of any other pretty prominent British jobbers. Maybe can't think of too many people off the top of my head. Yeah, I think the UK team would basically involve some combination of Bulldog, Regal, McIntyre, and then probably just throw Barrett and Finlay on that as well.
I think Pete Dunne has a chance, more so at the very least than anybody else that's in the UK scene right now, because I can't see even Tyler Bate beating out Pete Dunne for a spot. Definitely not somebody like Joseph Connors or something like that.
Yeah, I'd probably maybe Pete Dunne ahead of Barrett just because with Barrett it's kind of just a memory of lost potential. Of thinking, oh, this guy could be the next our first WWE champion, and then just all fizzles away. Actually, Neville as well. We need to think about Neville as well, or Pac if you wanted to do Pac instead.
I think I'd probably go Bulldog, Regal, Barrett, Dunne, McIntyre. I think I'd probably boot Finlay out for Dunne.
I would probably captain it around Regal.
Yeah. He'd have to be the captain.
I'd go with some premier tag team era British Bulldogs and get both Davey and Dynamite on there. And then I'd do Pete Dunne and Finlay.
Now, we're obviously not going to do just eventually we're going to get to a point where we would do Team Japan, Team Samoa, Team Russia, Team, whatever like that, because we have any potential country we could potentially do a thing like that. But we're not going to just run down teams like that. We're going to throw out some gimmicks and stuff like that. So one of them is Team Cowboy. So this is anybody who's had a cowboy gimmick. So we could have the Smoking Guns. We could have Bradshaw. God, there's a million freaking cowboys. That's what's difficult about something like that.
Yes.
Any that stand out to you guys off the top of your heads that would be that we have to put this person down as a cowboy gimmick?
The Smoking Guns are on this team for me. They just are. They were way over the top cartoony cowboys. And then I think as an anchor and a team captain, Bradshaw is very easy to build around.
Now, is it Blackjack Bradshaw or Justin Hawk Bradshaw? Or are you actually going with JBL?
I'm going to go with I might even go APA JBL. You remember when, briefly JBL was separated from Farouk and always wore a cowboy hat and carried around a cowbell for some odd reason?
Nope.
What, during his constant hardcore championship reigns on Raw?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't know if I'd even put Bradshaw on it just because I feel, even though he's always come to the ring in cowboy hats, he doesn't really exude cowboy to me. Especially when it came JBL. Yeah, well, definitely, obviously. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'd use that light swear word to denote him, but I think a name that doesn't get spoken about a lot because he was obviously a bit more of just a lower card or jobber guy in WWE. It was Outlaw Ron Bass. He was definitely on loads of Survivor Series teams.
Yeah.
In the late 80s, early 90s.
I think the most famous thing he did was cut open Brutus Beefcake with a spur, as far as WWF is concerned, but he main evented in the territory system everywhere. He should definitely be on this list.
And
I'm looking at go ahead.
I was going to say you include Jimmy Wang Yang.
I'm looking at two different lists right now. One of them is on Ranker, and they only have 13 people listed, so it's not really a great list. But these are the quote-unquote best professional wrestling cowboys of all time. Stan Hansen is on there.
Yeah, I was
Hell
going to say
yeah.
that was the one that I thought would be the anchor for the entirety.
There's Terry Funk.
The Funks were cowboys originally.
Yeah.
So
There's Blackjack Mulligan. Cowboy Bob Orton.
oh god.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Dory Funk. Bill Watts. Dick Murdoch. Trevor Murdoch. Kerry Von Erich. JBL. James Storm, who we really would only be able to count for NXT for 2 matches or whatever. Jeff Jarrett. WWE has a list of their own for 10 different people. They got Cowboy Bob Orton, Cowboy Bill Watts, Blackjack Mulligan, Blackjack Lanza, Terry Funk, Jimmy Hart, Dory Funk, JBL, Outlaw Brown Bass, Sam Houston, The Smoking Guns, Joyce Grable and Wendy Richter as the Texas Cowgirls.
That sounds awful.
Cowboy Lang? Who the hell is this guy? One of the minis.
Relative of Jimmy Wang.
You know what's weird? There's been a million different cowboys, yet I feel like this is like not as big of a list as it should be. Like,
no, because it seemed like the cowboy gimmick is kind of just a throwaway thing that if you haven't really thought about your character that much and you come from like Southern America, then you just become cowboy whatever.
And even Bret Hart was like, supposed to be Cowboy Bret Hart.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Based on what you suggested, I probably would go with a mixture of Stan Hansen, the Funks. I'd go Dick Murdoch and Ron Bass, I think. Would probably
Callum
be my
is
5.
out here trying to kill motherfuckers. Like, that is a tough team.
Well, he's a cowboy. Like,
like I'm trying to think of like fun, gimmicky, yeehaw cowboys and.
No, I'm going for realistic.
Yeah,
like we'll shoot you on sight type cowboy.
Yeah.
Well, to kind of counteract that a little bit, what if we went with Team Hillbilly? So you got like the Godwins,
Hillbilly Jim and the Godwins.
Yeah.
And then Jesse
Jamie Noble. You put Jamie Noble on it. I'm trying to think of who else would categorize the Hillbilly. Jesse and Festus.
Yes.
And you can probably put Trevor Murdoch in that category.
Hell
yeah. I'm not putting him on any team.
I
never liked Trevor Murdoch at all. I and even now that he's in NWA, I'm just kind of like, my God, why?
Because he's a cowboy.
Nah.
Gotta do some cowboy shit, guys.
Would you consider putting? I know again this is outside the remit of WWE, but the Briscoes on that.
Oh god, they're fucking hillbilly as fuck. They're about as hillbilly as it gets.
I don't know whether what's the like the distinction between a hillbilly and a redneck? Is there any kind of like?
I kind of feel like I don't know. Drop a comment below if I'm wrong about this, everybody. I feel like redneck and hillbilly. It's the difference of a redneck is somebody from the South who identifies a lot with the South, and that's part of their like, I guess like their cultural character. Yet a hillbilly doesn't even realize that that's the case. Like that's just the way things go. Like. I hate these types of shows, but there's a show out there called The Turtle Man, and he's this dude that, like, wrangles up, like, you know, oh, I got a mongoose in my fucking attic and whatever like that. He gets it, and it's like, that dude is full-on hillbilly, doesn't even realize it. He'll capture some, I don't know, some, like, snake in somebody's yard, and he'll get paid through them whittling something for him, and it's like, that's full-on hillbilly, like, he doesn't get it. Redneck people more like a Jeff Foxworthy, where it's like, you know, yeah, I've got that pickup truck and whatever, that kind of thing. So I kind of think hillbilly's more like the Godwin type, where it's just sort of like, yeah, I'm a country boy, and that's all my life is.
Like naivety, because I guess when you throw in that distinction, it's the difference between Jesse and Festus being hillbillies, and then the Briscoes who are
they're rednecks.
Intelligent, but they're just straight up redneck.
Yeah.
Would you consider maybe the Bushwhackers then as potential hillbillies?
Yeah, I'd probably go with them as hillbillies.
There's also again another like blast from the past, but Haystacks Calhoun. the 601-pound territory guy who used to I think he was just like wrestled out of like Arkansas. He did wrestle in WWF for a little while. According to his Wikipedia bio, he won the he's a former WWF tag team champion. So he does count technically in our discussion. But yeah, I think with the hillbilly side of things, you probably would just lead off with the Jim
Hillbilly
Jim and
the Godwins.
The two Godwins, yeah.
Yeah, that's three for sure.
Yeah.
And then the other two, I mean, you could go with Jesse and Festus, but I don't think many people would be like, you gotta have Jesse on this team. So maybe like a Haystacks Calhoun?
Yeah, probably, because that would just be like the giant on your side of things, and then maybe throwing Jamie Noble as like your fast cruiserweight.
Yeah, I could see something like that. Jamie Noble's a little bit more on the redneck side to me.
A little bit. He's a little bit too. I thought he was just a little bit. I think
like a redneck for me would be like Austin could be a redneck, but he's not a hillbilly. That's kind of my distinction.
They called him the redneck. They called him a bionic redneck quite a lot, didn't they?
Yeah. So like, I don't know about like I'm looking at a list right now, and somebody's got Dusty Rhodes as the number one best hillbilly redneck kind of. He's not a hillbilly to me.
No.
I also don't kind of think of Dusty as a redneck kind. You know.
Well, he's a redneck.
I hate country music, so it's I don't know really the distinguishing factors between some of these.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Jamie Noble was enough, like had a bit of naivety about him, or just was a bit of an adult enough to be considered in the hillbilly category.
You guys make the call in the comments below. We got Godwins, we got Hillbilly Jim. They're guarantees. You get throw two more people in there. Who would you do?
I'm doing Dusty and Festus. I think because Festus in particular is just the epitome of a hillbilly who doesn't even move until like he hears a sound that says, "Okay, it's time for me to go." You know? And Jesse, he's kind of the lighthearted dimwit, you know, like he's not as dumb as Festus, but he's there.
Let's go to. This might be a little bit hard now that I'm thinking about it. WWE had Team Extreme. They had the Hardy Boys and Lita. But how would you flesh that out? So you have Matt Hardy. You have Jeff Hardy. I don't know if you could really incorporate Lita because then you'd have to make it a mixed tag team match. But whether or not you include her, you're still missing two more people. So do you go Matt, Jeff, Gregory Helms, Shannon Moore, and a fifth person? Or do you just put Lita in there, make it mixed tag? Or how would you plan that out?
Okay, so when you're saying Team Extreme, you literally mean just build around the Hardys and make like a Hardy faction?
Right.
Okay, I would do Matt and Jeff, definitely Shane and Shannon, and I'd go with Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes does make sense for essentially just being from the Carolinas, that sort of region.
What about R-Truth?
That's come out of nowhere, really. Explain.
What, wasn't he a part of that crew for a little bit?
Team Extreme looking for a fight.
Didn't he kind of like come up a little bit with them or something? Or am I just like having some kind of an aneurysm?
No. Road Dogg came into WWE as K Quick with the Road Dogg.
I thought that behind the scenes that there was some kind of story about that.
No, I think they might be close, but I don't think that they're from the same area or anything.
I'll look into that a little bit while we're trying to figure this out, because I kind of remember somebody saying something about that. I don't know.
In terms of like, I probably would go similar in terms of putting like Gregory Helms and Shannon Moore on the team, but then I would fill it out with Vanguard 1. Could be the fifth member of the team. Because, like, why wouldn't you put a drone on your team if you could?
Well, in that case, where does Senior Benjamin fit into the mix?
Oh, he's at the sideline, just cheering them on.
Oh,
and then when they're old enough, you put you put Maxwell, and they become the next members of the team.
Was Evan Courageous a part of that, or was he just flat out part of 3 Count?
I think he was just flat out
part of 3 Count. Yeah.
Huh.
He was brought in, I think, before Helms and Moore even made it to WCW. He was like the first one there.
I'm looking at this thing now. It's this. There's the North Carolina Brat Pack, and the 5th person for that is Marty Garner.
The famous WWF jobber who fucking spiked himself on a pedigree.
Oh, is that dude?
Yeah.
I guess technically speaking, he would probably be their 5th one, because if they had a group of 5 that they referred to themselves as the North Carolina Brat Pack, then I guess that's that.
I think we can at least say with complete certainty that Edge wouldn't be on this too.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
It's good to just rule people out nowadays, just to make sure that we don't just cross over people. But maybe you could put MVP on it because of the Matt Hardy tag team reign that they had together. I know it doesn't really fit the brief, but at least I'm trying to think of people that had some sort of partnership or unity with them.
I think ultimately, now that we can't think of another person, I think I'd probably just be like, you know what, put Lito on there, make it mixed tag, put them against somebody who could do like 4 men and a woman. It would make no sense. Like the match would be like, you know, anybody tags in the female person on that side. Well, that'd be what, Godfather or Goodfather.
Buchanan,
Val Venus, Stevie Richards, and Ivory.
Yeah, there you go. See, that would work out. There you go. There's the Survivor Series tag team match. Let's go to another themed one here. Let's go with the Dark Side. So this would be, we could do multiple different variations of this, but generally speaking, the Dark Side was the team that they had called the Undertaker's team. So it is kind of like Team Undertaker, so to speak. Obviously, the Undertaker's on it. There's no point in it not being the Undertaker on this. It's one of the most easiest ones that's out there. I feel like Kane's got to be on there, even though they've feuded with each other more than they've actually teamed up. But they were teams, and obviously that's like Brothers of Destruction makes sense. But you could put in like anybody that's been in the Ministry of Darkness. You could put in Big Show. You could put in, I don't know, like anybody that you really could think of. And I guess we could sort of almost go into the direction of like just like dark kind of characters like Boogeyman and stuff too. But for now, at the very least, if you were going to say like just Undertaker, build it around Undertaker people. He didn't really do anything with Boogeyman. So other than Kane, who would be on like the Dark Side thing? Would you put Viscera on there? Would you put Naked Midian on there?
Why do you go no?
What? Yeah, why Naked
Midian?
APA?
Oh, what? Well, you didn't. I like how you just dodged the one.
Yeah. I know that's what I know when you close your eyes, Tony. That's what you see, but just leave it out of the podcast every now and then.
Well, no, everybody else has to see it when they close their eyes.
Undertaker, Kane are locked.
I'd put maybe Gangrel.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I would say vampires.
He was part of the Ministry, right?
Yeah, for a little while.
96 Mankind, like specifically pre-corporate Mankind, like hiding in the boiler room, playing with the rat, you know.
Maybe maybe Papa Shango.
Absolutely.
Well, he wasn't in like the Undertaker side of things at any point. If we were going to go, like if we were going to dark side. Yeah, if we were going to expand it beyond Undertaker teammate type of people, then
if I wanted to just go with like Ministry people, then you would go probably Undertaker. Well, Kane was technically never part of the Ministry.
Yeah.
No, I mean it wouldn't be Team Ministry. It'd be like Team Undertaker's opponent. Not opponents. Undertaker team kind of people. That's why I thought like Big Show's another one. Like
spooky people who have interacted with the Undertaker.
It's hard because mostly Undertaker feuds with these people as opposed to teams with them. He's only ever really teamed with Kane and Big Show and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Like, for instance, the Acolytes were a part of the Ministry.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd put them on the Dark Side team because really they were just, 2 dudes with symbols painted on them.
I'd probably, if we were to say around that whole concept, I'd probably go Undertaker, Kane, the Acolytes, and Gangrel. But if we start expanding it beyond that to just like the spooky characters, we do have Bray Wyatt, Boogeyman, Mankind, Papa Shango, Kevin Thorne, technically, I guess. I don't think
Mordecai or Kevin Ford. Hayde Vanson.
Yeah.
So good.
Could you put Kazani on that as well?
I was thinking about Kazarni, but now he's...
What a wasted gimmick. That could have been so good. Well, let's bring it out to the bigger group then. Let's just have like the team of the spooky people. Team Spooky Guy.
Okay, Team Spooky Guy. Definitely Taker, Kane, 96 Mankind, Crow Sting, and probably Demon Balor.
I'd probably go a bit more. Go Undertaker, Kane, obviously. I probably would still stick with. I'd go Papa Shango because he's more of like the occult side of things. Then Kevin Sullivan.
That's a good one.
And I'm trying to think of the other one. I probably would just go Boogeyman, even though it's a bit of just more of a comedy version of the horror side of things. He seems like a bit more spooky orientated than Mankind, which is a bit more visceral and too real, really.
Did you guys see that video of him on Halloween?
I saw a part of it where he's playing around the action figures.
It's 3 hours of the Boogeyman, and he starts out all creepy, and you skip to about like 2.5 hours in, and he's like, I love chips. I love barbecue chips. Like, this guy, what a weird dude he was. And it seems tailor-made for The Undertaker, and all they did with him was he ate the thing off Jillian Hall's face.
I think I'd probably go Undertaker, Kane, Mankind, Boogeyman, Papa Shango.
And we're forgetting the Yeti here. We should be...
We're forgetting the Yeti for good reason, that's why.
I don't know, man. Nobody can, do that double bear hug hump move like the Yeti.
We haven't had much on the women's side of things, so let's talk about that. Let's go with, I don't know what you would call this, but like the sexy, kind of like sultry, almost slutty type, like the ones where like their character revolves strictly around the idea that, look at her, she's hot. So like Mandy Rose, for instance, like maybe she wouldn't be necessarily on the team, but like her character isn't Mandy Rose hot. Maurice, I think, is kind of like somebody who fits in that bill.
Yeah, I'd say you probably would put Eva Marie on that.
Yeah, Eva Marie would be a possible option for that too, because that's really all she was.
Yeah, I'd say you probably put Tori Wilson on that kind of category. Sable would fit into that.
Sable could almost captain it.
Yeah, Sunny, if you wanted to try and get her in the ring to do a few bits and pieces.
Like you wouldn't throw somebody in like an Ivory or a Jacqueline because they weren't like that. So it has to be like, that's what's like, we're keeping that in mind. So there's not anybody really other than Mandy Rose from like the past bunch of years that I think would fit in there, right?
Maybe Alexa.
I don't think she's really like, her gimmick's just like, isn't she hot? I think she's more so.
Well,
bitch.
They did plenty of segments where she would just, well, not plenty of segments, but they did that segment on
the one
Raw
where they showed her back.
Where someone just walks in and she's just bare backed in front.
Yeah, but I wouldn't.
And then they did those few things with like the Moment of Bliss segments where she would talk about like Finn Balor taking his belt off and stuff like that. Just
yeah, I don't think that's like that though. I think that's. I mean, you could do that for anybody for the most part.
She's manipulative. Like, she's more manipulative.
Yeah, because like at that range, then Ashley Massaro would be the same, and Candice actually.
Candice does kind of fit.
Candice Michelle might fit on that.
Basically, anyone that's been romantically tied on television to Vince McMahon could probably fit into this category.
Stacy Keibler?
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
See, but I don't even think that she was all that slutty. Like, if we're gonna go really completely based around this, you gotta put Tori on that list.
And obviously, this is not the person themselves. We're not calling them,
No.
like, Stacey's
No,
being
we're
like,
not.
oh, slut. Like, we don't know them, so.
But
No.
good that you threw that out there. Steph. Like, we've been doing the 2001 Wrestling Odyssey, and a lot of the banter there is just, boy, Steph's a whore.
Yeah, that's pretty much Jericho's gimmick for most
Yeah.
of 2001. But yeah, you probably would put Tori on there. You'd put I don't know if you reclass Eva Marie because she was more just she was all about her looks.
She could have been.
But I guess you can kind of put that side of things into there. Yeah, so maybe Eva Marie. So Tori, Eva Marie. I'd say you probably Marie's probably Lana definitely should be on this.
Oh fuck.
Lana's a potential pick, yeah. I feel like Sable needs to be on there.
Yeah, Sable does, yeah.
And I kind of feel like Mandy Rose should be. Even though she hasn't had the longevity, I feel like that's her whole thing.
Well, someone has to carry the in-ring side of things.
Yeah, it's true. I think I'd probably take Sunny out of it, actually.
But she's not really a wrestler, so
yeah,
probably take her out that side of things.
I'd put Candice on there just for the one segment she had at Backlash, where Vince has got his hand on her chest and she's just moaning, and Vince got away with a lot of shit.
He gets away with a lot of shit. Doesn't just got away with a lot of shit.
I mean, but I think that aspect of things is at least finished.
But
I don't think we should bother with this one, but I'm just bringing it out there. This is making me think of, we technically could have lots of options for team girls who are dancers. Because it could just be the Nitro Girls, Extreme Expose, the Funkadactyls, the Funkettes.
there's a
big
lot
group of people.
A lot of women that have danced on WWE TV.
Yeah. I think I'd go for the team, whatever you want to call it. I think I'd probably go Sable, Mandy Rose, Candice, Eva Marie, and Tori.
Yeah, I might try Tori out because she was a babyface for most of her career. Just because you kind of associate this character with being a bit heelish.
Yeah, kind of.
And maybe throw in someone like, I don't know whether you would put in like a Sunny if you wanted to get her to wrestle, or maybe someone like a Dawn Marie, maybe, or a Jackie Gator. You could probably just throw in pretty much any women's wrestler from the heel women's wrestler from like the early 2000s until 2005, 2006, and they would fit in on that team pretty well.
I don't think that Trish would, now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, she did cheat on Chris Jericho, Christian. So she does she can't show the heel Trish Stratus can fit into that role pretty well. And she did have the big affair with Vince McMahon as well, as well.
She can also carry the in-ring side of things.
Yeah. But Trish isn't like Alita as well, because
Alita had sex on TV.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like it's not the main thing you associate with them, but frankly, they probably did more risque stuff on TV than some of the other people did.
So this is a stupid one, but let's do it.
Yeah.
Team people in animal costumes.
What?
So you got the Swagger Soaring Eagle, you got the Gobbledygooker, you got Mantar.
So you've got El Torito.
El Torito, yeah.
You've got...
I did a Call the Spot a bunch of years ago for this. I want to double check what that was.
I'm trying to think of... So other people that have been in animal costumes. Can't count the Brahma Bull, right? No, there should be a lot more, but I'm just like struggling to think of too many off the top of my head. That
there was that weird like Ninja Turtle duo. You guys ever see that? Where Turtles. They actually tried to have a tag team called the Toxic Turtles. There's dudes in Ninja Turtle costumes.
There's I found the Call the Spot. I had also had Hornswoggle the alligator. I don't remember why that was around that time, but that was something.
Slater Gator?
Oh, it might have been that, yeah.
Oh god, yeah, he was, yeah.
And there was also the Adam Rose bunny.
Oh, the bunny was
Yeah.
great.
Justin Gabriel. It'd be good if like the team was just like people in the animal costumes, but they're not allowed to wear the animal costumes in the ring. So you just got like Justin Gabriel and Hector Guerrero and whoever El Torito is in real life.
Right.
Just because it's this random mismatched team.
Well, at the very least, Gobbledygooker is definitely on there.
Oh yeah.
I would think the bunny and the Swagger Soaring Eagle are on there. They had quite a bit of a time frame. I don't know. Maybe throw in Mantar and El Torito.
Yeah, I can't really think of too many other ones off the top of my head, really. Maybe it's just an area that I need to explore more. Maybe we need more wrestlers dressed as animals.
There you go, WWE. That's what's missing from your fucking lineup.
Yeah, that's what the ratings are down.
Yeah. What about... go ahead.
I just sent you guys the video. These toxic turtles are on the team. Gobbledygooker as the captain. And then I think you got the bunny and the eagle, and you got yourself a hell of a Survivor Series team of men in costumes.
Let's go on a more serious one. The Hart family. Brett and Owen, for me. I'd probably go Bulldog, Neidhart, and then the fifth one, I don't know, because they had around that time frame, they had Brian Pillman, but there are plenty of other options other than Brian Pillman.
Brett, obviously. Owen, of course. Yes to Bulldog. Since we're doing a time machine, can we get like a healthy Stu Hart and just plug him in there?
I mean, that would probably be the best way to do it, right?
And then I would say maybe towards the more modern era, let's throw a little flash in there and put Teddy Hart on the team.
There's Tyson Kidd. There's
Harry Smith.
Harry. Obviously, there's Natty, but
Natty.
That's a whole thing with the whole mixed tag thing.
Yeah, I'd probably
just Bruce. Like anybody's gonna pick Bruce.
Bruce would pick Bruce. If Bruce had his way, it would be an entire team of Bruce's. But that's like that's a whole different topic. But
Bruce.
You put I think like if you could get a healthy and more vibrant Stu Hart into it, then you could do that. Maybe you definitely put Brett and Owen on it. British Bulldog definitely. I probably would just go with Neidhart and Pillman just because the Hart Foundation is the more iconic like quintet to put into the team.
Side note, I fucking love Bruce Pritchard's Stu Hart impression where he's like, you got anything for the Bulldog or the Rhino? I fucking love that so much.
How many times do you think that actually happened where
just called up asking for something for the Rhino?
Hey, listen, Jim's he's around again. You got anything for the Rhino?
Yeah, the fucking Rhino. I fucking love it so much. So you gotta put the Rhino on there. And some people would be like, who? Lame ass joke. I think Brett, Owen, Bulldog, Neidhart, and Stu. That's a hell of a team.
Yeah.
And Neidhart's the one that gets eliminated pretty quickly.
Yep.
Unless you specifically make it to where Owen's the one that gets eliminated and it's like a comedy spot. We got so many different ones too. We already had 53 minutes for this, and we have not scratched the surface for the Time Machine Dream Team.
Started talking.
Right? Yeah, that's the thing. We have so many possible options here. Should I go with a funny one? Should we go with a serious one? What should we go with here?
I like funny.
Location based. We got that too. Let's go with a funny one. Let's go with well, you know what? We talked about it recently. Funny wrestlers. We had gone with the whole idea of like the Mount Rushmore of comedy acts. So who's the actual funny wrestlers? I mean, I wouldn't think you'd put Bobby Heenan in there because he's not a wrestler, but Santino's got to be on the list.
Yeah, you put Santino and R-Truth would both be on it.
Yeah, there's two. So you got three more.
It's hard to find wrestlers that are legitimately funny. is probably as we probably discussed in the comedy acts thing. It's hard to find. There's wrestlers who are portrayed as comedy acts and wrestlers that are actually funny. They're not always interlinked.
Even though I don't find him as funny, I think it would make sense to put Goldust on the funny wrestler team because he'd play off the other people. He'd be like the weird one with all like the face paint and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You put Regal on the team as well. Because the funniest thing about that team with Regal on it is because Regal would think that he's the normal one.
Yeah, he'd be the straight man for sure.
Yeah, and that would make the whole team more hilarious.
This is actually shaping up to be like a real fun team. If it's Santino, R-Truth, William Regal, and Goldust, that fifth guy's got to play off of them.
Would it be Doink, wouldn't it?
I was thinking Hornswoggle.
Well, either one of them works.
Yeah, I mean, you could potentially put someone like when Carly was doing his comedy gimmick on there, just so you have a bit more of like a freak show element to it as well.
Somewhere in this match, I don't know if it's just on the one side or maybe you do two teams of comedy, but I like over enthusiastic Barry Horowitz on this team, or just like in this matchup where he's just like, "I won again, I won something."
Man, we could do a whole team jobber too. That's another one.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of doing this, I'm thinking of more teams that we can add to our list. I kind of like that idea of Santino, R-Truth, Goldust, Regal, and either Hornswoggle or Doink. Because then it would be like Doink's the actual clown. Hornswoggle is kind of fitting a different sort of dynamic than some of the other people. R-Truth is like the oblivious, clearly like schizophrenic type of person. Santino's kind of like, oh, I'm the one who's going to get this team together. And Regal's just like, I'm the straight man. And Goldust is doing his whole electrocuted, stuttering kind of thing and all that.
See, as I think of this, I think the funniest way to play this out would be Doink, Truth, even Santino and Goldust, they all just go out there and like wrestle. And then you get Regal in there who's just acting a fool.
Like they suddenly like flip that switch and they're
they know how to wrestle. Like Santino's full judo champ, Dustin Rhodes is doing that, and you get Regal in there who's just being a jackass.
Like he's like got his his shoes tied together, making an ass of himself, and he's trying really hard, but he's swinging for the fences and missing people and all that.
Yeah.
Just one more suggestion for the comedy thing. Even if it was just for the entrance, because the rest of it may not be as funny, you might just throw the Shockmaster on their team. just because like they just maybe just have those four, and then we have a surprise announcement. It's the Shockmaster, and it just falls through the stage, coming out.
And it's just like, we need a new fifth member, and then Goldust comes out or something like that.
Yeah.
Who would you go with Team WWF?
Oh.
For that matter, let's piggyback off of what we had done recently with the fantasy booking of that. Let's do Team WWF versus Team WCW, so you can't pick the person for the same opposite. It's in the same match.
Obviously, this will play off a little bit from the next edition of 2001 Wrestling Odyssey, where we actually look at. Well, it was technically Team WWE against Team Alliance rather than Team WWE against WCW, but this will be a more interesting test, really.
I'm going to toss a couple names out there. I think Flair and Sting have to be Team WCW.
Absolutely, yeah.
What era?
Goldberg has to be WCW.
Yeah, that one makes a lot of sense.
Do you go with Flat Top Sting or Crow Sting?
I think Crow Sting is more WCW. Flat Top Sting's more NWA/WCW.
I kind of feel like either would work. And I'm writing down a couple names right now, and I'm kind of filling this out already, and just going like, "My God, this is so quick to fill out some potential names."
Yeah,
but like,
I mean, it's quite obvious. When in WWF side, you put Rock, you put Austin, you probably put Undertaker.
But then you only have two spots there, and you haven't even said 80s Hogan. There's Brett.
There's Cena.
Well,
there's Shawn Michaels, Triple H.
WWF, I guess.
I'm kind of trying to put it in. I'm trying to put it in the context of, like, not a match that could happen, but a match that might have potentially been a battle between these two. Maybe I shouldn't be limiting it that much, but if you're just trying to put it in some sort of context of WWF, when I think WWF, I assume Attitude Era type time, and WCW, it's like from Nitro onwards.
All right, so that makes it a little easier for us, I think. So then you go Austin Rock, because they have to. Undertaker would also be a must. I'd say.
I think you could put you might be able to put Michaels on that.
See, but I'm either gonna go with Michaels, with Austin Rock Taker, Michaels Hunter, or maybe take out Michaels and put in Foley, depending on where, if you wanted to land this somewhere in '98. But
I think I'd take Foley out of the mix for almost any Team WWF. I'm looking at my list right now, and I've got, if just range from outside of Attitude Era, Hogan, Austin, Rock, Cena, Undertaker, HBK, Triple H, Bret, Macho Man. I'm already to a point where it's like, I think Foley would get knocked out anywhere.
In terms of the WWE side of things, you have Sting, Flair, and Goldberg, I think, are the three major definites.
Yeah. I think Booker T is worth a possible spot
it's
on
more
that.
it's more of the back end of like being an actual main event talent.
Well, the way that I had this matched up, you have to put DDP next to Goldberg.
DDP
and Sting.
DDP,
I think DDP would have to be on it, just because he's pure. Even though he obviously had the later run in WWE, he's pretty much pure WCW.
And then if you then have 1-1, do you just fill it out and say Vince and Bischoff?
You could do that. I might consider, like, I think a fifth member of WCW in terms of like the actual wrestling side could probably be found. Whether you go with it's Kevin Nash or Scott Steiner or
Dusty.
He's again. I kind of just place him more in the NWA side of things rather.
I think we're going like strictly Monday Night War. Get your best man and go.
Well, you don't have to, obviously, but that's kind of like just the mindset that I'm going with. If I'm going like Monday Night War, then it's probably DDP, Sting, Flair, Goldberg, and
Hogan.
Yeah, think. Hogan would be WCW side of things, yeah. And then on the
WWF side for Attitude Era, you got Austin Rock, Undertaker,
Taker,
Triple H.
I'm saying Michaels and Hunter.
Yeah, I'd probably go Michaels and Hunter.
Yeah, I'd go Michaels. Yeah, the only thing that I'd switch around potentially is switch Michaels for Mick Foley, but that would probably be it.
Yeah, depending on which time frame. If it was after his injury, then it would be Foley.
Yeah.
But then if you go with like all time WWF and WCW, I mean, then you're incorporating. You got Jake the Snake Roberts, Roddy Piper, Andre the Giant, Big Show. Like I kind of think if I had to go with like all time, and it's like almost like picking one person from each different sort of, not necessarily picking one person from each era, but like I'd probably go WCW. Like if I were to say 5 people that would represent WCW to me, I'd go Flair, Sting, Goldberg, Booker T, and DDP. And for WWF, I'd probably go like full on Hulk Hogan, Austin, Rock, Undertaker, and Cena. As odd as it is to not include Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Bret Hart, Macho Man.
It's interesting because
you keep saying WWF, but you keep saying Cena. So I'm going to use that little caveat and say, keep your team exactly as it is, but swap out Cena for Bret Hart.
I think when you have to talk about like WCW side of things, I obviously try and cut off WCW in the fact that WCW as an entity only existed from 1988 to 2001, so you have to put it within that time frame. So you can't go further back with people like the more Dusty. NWA associated with like Dusty or Harley Race or the Funks or people along those lines. Instead, if you're trying to just put it within those blockades, then I would go Sting, Flair. I'd probably put Vader on that team.
Oh yeah, Vader. Fuck.
And then Goldberg and DDP. would probably be the 5 that I'd put on WCW. And then on WWF would be Hogan, Savage, Rock, Austin, and Bret Hart.
For that matter, if we're going to go Team AEW right now.
Well, that's...
Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and who?
Jericho, probably.
Because there's Paige, there's Jericho.
I mean, I wouldn't put just like all the elite people.
I'd almost take out the Bucks.
You could potentially. I don't think there's enough main event talent to really take out the Bucks.
Well, no, because if you're doing Team AEW right now, you gotta go Omega, Cody, Jericho, Mox.
And then Moxley and Pac would probably be your top like single stars.
Is it fucked up that the only non-WWE touched guy on that list is Kenny Omega?
Well, I think that's probably
Makes
what you'd expect at this point. Yeah.
If you kept it with the elite, and you had Omega, Rhodes, Young Bucks, Paige would be the last one, right?
It'd have to be.
Well, yeah, no. Until Scale got back, obviously.
Well, yeah, because it's just those 5, right? We're not talking, that entity, that former Bullet Club entity as a whole, because that opens up a whole different can of worms.
Well, let's open up that can of worms, because Guest 5 had suggested, what if we booked the Bullet Club against the Click?
All right, so, well, the Click's
the Click is
people.
set.
Yeah, the Click is set. You can't alter that in any way, really.
But there's more than 5 people.
No, there's not. We're not doing this thing where it's just Incredible and Luis Piccoli. No, it's the 5, and that is it.
So you got Triple H, you got Shawn Michaels, you got Hall and Nash, you got X-Pac.
Yeah,
and then
perfect.
On the Bullet Club side of things, you probably would go with Balor.
Yeah.
And Styles.
I would assume.
You go Omega. Would you put Adam Cole in it? There's the potential, obviously, to put Adam Cole in it, but I think you probably go Gallows and Anderson would probably make that up.
I think I take out Balor. I put Styles, Gallows, Anderson, and the Young Bucks.
I just don't think you can take Balor out because he's the first like co-leader of it. I mean, realistically,
Anderson grew to such heights after he left.
Yeah, but I don't think that. I don't think that it's grown. It grew significantly, but I think you need to have the founder in it. That's just my interpretation of it. Though I would put Balor and Anderson definitely have to be in it. I would almost be willing to take Gallows out of it and leave Anderson in there because Anderson is technically a leader of the group, which Gallows isn't. I mean, technically AJ Styles isn't the leader of the group either, so you could take him out.
Is there a way to do 2 teams? Is there a way to have like Styles, Gallows, Anderson, and 2 other people, Balor, Bucks, Omega? Like, what? I don't know, like how they all worked out.
Well, it was more. If you're looking like an OG Bullet Club, like from the before Styles and Gallows and Anderson left, you probably could do a that era one of Balor, Anderson, Gallows, Styles, and someone like probably Bad Luck Fale would probably make up the 5 of those ones. And then on the other side of things, it would be Omega, the Bucks, maybe Adam Cole, and
Skrull.
Then I'd probably put Jay White in now because he's the leader currently.
I think if we expand on the entirety of Bullet Club, I would want AJ. I'd want the Bucks. I'd want Jay White too. And then I think, personally, I'd say Kenny Omega.
It feels pretty bad because like, the idea of like we discussed all these names and there's been one guy who's been Bullet Club through and through this entire time who just we don't even bring up his Tamatonga.
Like Bad Luck Fale. But it's hard.
I brought up Bad Luck Fale on the underboss side of things. He has to be. I'd put him on the OG Bullet Club side of things.
And I like Tamatonga, and quite honestly, I like Tungalo too. The Guerrillas of Destiny. I think they're a good tag team, but if you get one shot at this, it's kind of like the NWO. I like Scott Steiner. I like Scott Norton, but
we brought him up again. It's the most we've ever talked about Scott Norton on any episode of this podcast.
If you're gonna do a Bullet Club team, I think you have to do the AJ and the Bucks got to be there, and then you go, well, I want Omega there, and then that last person's just sort of like, pick a card, any card.
What I personally just don't think the Bucks need to be on a Bullet Club team. They can definitely need to be on an elite team, but I don't think they need to be on the Bullet Club team.
But I think they did so much in bringing that brand to the forefront.
Yeah, but I just don't think without Balor it doesn't exist anyway. So you need to have Balor on that team.
Well, before we move on here, let me toss out a couple of little plugs. Obviously, if you are enjoying this and you want us to do more and you want to make sure we get around to that, head up to Patreon, because you can always suggest that on the Pick Your Poison tier, and maybe even if you want to take advantage of that, if you have a specific list that you would want us to do to get around to it, to make sure that we would do the ones that you would want us to do, then by all means, you can request that. And if you don't have the money to take advantage of the Pick Your Poison tier, if you toss $1 or $5 our way, you get ad block forgiveness and some different things like that. So the Patreon is something to be aware of. You can pick up some merchandise shop stuff on the TeePublic and Redbubble. There's 3 different shops for each one of those: a Mango Tees, Mark Out Moment, and Fanboys Anonymous. And very quickly, just for the people who don't know, Fanboys Anonymous is my website that I do movie reviews and different stuff like that. So you will find all that on fanboysanonymous.com. It's kind of the whole point of the whole thing. So subscribe to that YouTube channel and take advantage of the Patreon for that if you want me to do more on that side of things. I want to make sure we get around to this one, because we are at a minute and 10. We are at an hour and 10 right now. So at some point we're going to wrap this up, and we're still, again, not even scratching the surface. I have another 50.
We didn't even talk about the Jannettys or the...
That's the one I wanted to get to. Team Marty Jannetti of teams. So this is the Marty Jannetti of a tag team. The phrasing of this really kind of came about with John Morrison and The Miz. They were the ones that I feel like they called attention to it to the point where people started to actually refer to this as a thing. But Marty Jannetti was the Marty Jannetti of the Rockers, because Shawn Michaels went on and do that. He has to be on the team. He's Marty Jannetti.
Yeah.
But then again, who do you go with? Because we talked about this a little bit ahead of time, and we thought of a bunch of different ones: Bart Gunn, Jim Neidhart, Devon, Charlie Haas, Wesley Blake, Samu, Joey Mercury, Stevie Ray, yeah. Christian, you can call. I know Dane's like, what the fuck is the best? No, Christian's the Marty Jannetti of Edge and Christian. I wouldn't put Christian on there because to me, he's not like...
He's too good to be...
Yeah, he's not indicative of that.
I'm going to actually rule... I don't think he should even be on the list.
It's if you had to pick a Jannetti for that team, you'd pick Christian. But if you were to say, name a bunch of Marty Jannettis, Christian wouldn't come to my mind. I feel like Bart Gunn has to be in this, though.
Yeah, Bart Gunn should be. Just because he had a career afterwards as well. Like, obviously Billy had a much more successful career afterwards, but then he also came back and won the Brawl for All, and they did nothing with him anyway.
And then he got knocked the fuck out.
I kind of feel like, yeah. So I'd put, Bart Gunn should definitely be on it. I think John Morrison should be on it.
I wouldn't go with Morrison. I think he did enough.
I think when you compare it to The Miz,
he's kind of in a Christian spot for me. Like, if The Miz wasn't The Miz, and if Edge wasn't Edge, then the other two would be like, there's a problem with them. But they happen to have done a lot more.
I guess so. You could kind of make that sort of argument if Shawn Michaels wasn't Shawn Michaels.
If he retires tomorrow, then maybe he could be classified as a Jannetti. I think he still actually has time, especially with the rumored comeback.
Morrison's got intercontinental titles and tag titles and stuff. Bart Gunn.
Well, so does Jannetti.
Jannetti has them as well, yeah.
Granted, I think Jannetty's total combined reigns equal maybe a month for everything.
Right.
Also, does Foley's WWE Championship reigns, but...
Yeah, but he's Foley.
They tried to kill himself for us, so we can't... No, we can't.
Did Stevie Ray go on this? I probably would say Stevie Ray.
Stevie Ray's on this for me.
Look at it this way. Stevie Ray only got into the Hall of Fame when they put Booker in a second time.
And to that point, I'm going to say, I don't know why Jannetti gets crapped on, when Jim the Anvil Neidhart did nothing. Like let's
Jim Neidhart has the honor of being two Jannettys in two
Yeah.
different tag teams.
Yeah.
The Owen and Brett team.
Yeah.
Like
I'd put Neidhart on there.
At this point, Neidhart, like his thing was he tagged with Brett, and he's Natty's father. Is that unfair to say?
Well, they're both true, so I guess he kind of.
But I mean, like,
accused of lying about it.
Those would be the pillars.
Well, he was Who as well. Can't forget Who.
Yeah, you can't forget Who.
Star-Lord, man.
Oh, that movie's so great. What about I mean, a few other suggestions you could do. Obviously, you got like the Charlie Hosses and stuff like that, but maybe Rick Steiner.
Oh, yeah. That's a good pick for that.
Rick, in his fairness, had a pretty decent run on his own, but obviously it was nowhere near. He doesn't have anywhere near the reputation that Scott Steiner does. Chavo Guerrero.
Yes.
I don't know if I'd put Chavo on that list. I think I'd be more inclined to put Devon on that list than Chavo, for instance.
I mean, someone does.
I think they both belong on the list.
Well, they're both on the. I think they're both on the list. I don't think Chavo would probably make the team. I don't even know if Devon would even make the team.
I'm looking at a weird list from What Culture right now. They have Kane on there because the team Hell No. They've got Kevin Nash on there from the outside. Like, come on, this is
whoa. Okay, weird side discussion. If you had to pick between Nash and Hall, who's the Jannetti? You're obviously going with the guy who never won a world title, right?
I just feel like that's a team that you can't pick a Jannetti from.
Yeah. But since What Culture tried to do it...
Yeah, well, they're idiots when it comes to something like that. They did have Rick Steiner on the list, though. I feel like Rick is a really solid pick for that.
Yeah. At the moment, I'd probably end up would go, obviously, Marty Jannetty would be on it, and then probably Rick Steiner, Stevie Ray, Bart Gunn, and maybe Devon.
Yeah, I'd say either Devon or Neidhart, and I'd probably go Devon.
Neidhart, probably, yeah. I'd go Neidhart just because he's a double Jannetti.
I'm gonna say Jannetti, obviously, Neidhart, Stevie Ray, Rick Steiner, and Chavo Guerrero, who, definitely belongs on this list. If you look at the SmackDown 6, there's one odd one out, and it's Chavo.
He's the Marty Jannetty of the SmackDown 6.
There is Samu, because Fatu had done.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, compare the two, though. Fatu, Rikishi versus Samu. And there's Joey Mercury.
There's anything bad about Joey Mercury. He'll go off on you.
He doesn't know me. There's Charlie Haas. There's there's plenty of options for that. That's not something that we're kind of being who do we pick out of this one? What are some other ones we could do with in the last little bit of time that we've got going on here? We haven't done. Let's do another woman one. We haven't done one of those in a little while. Let's go with the Team Mean Girls. We were talking about that earlier. So these are the ones that, like, their character, they were pretty much just, like, major bitches. There's a good chance Alexa's on there, I think.
Yeah,
how many people has she fucked over? Like, Mickey, Naya. She actually hasn't fucked over Nikki Cross yet. That's kind of weird.
Well, she's babyface now.
Yeah, that's true.
But you probably put Lay Cool. Would both probably fit into this category. Stephanie McMahon should probably be considered in the conversation here. Maybe just as manager as opposed to actually wrestling.
Yeah, she could be like the sixth person, the JJ Dillon.
Yeah. Some other people that might fit into is, I mean, a heel Trish Stratus is very good at this kind of role. Potentially Stacy Keibler when she was doing some of her heel gimmicks. Put in. Would you really put Ivory into it?
I wouldn't.
No,
I'd put Trish more in there than Ivory.
Because Ivory, I guess, would be considered that role for that time. But then when you go back and watch it, it's actually she's the one that's actually like in the good in this situation. The same thing with like Molly Holly as well. Who Who else would fit into that? So we got
Bliss, Cool, Trish.
Trying to think. I would have thought there'd be a lot more. Because I remember there being a lot more, but I don't know how prominent some of them are.
Team Mean Girl for me. Lay Cool's on this thing. Alexa Bliss. Right off the bat, my head said Iconics, but I know that there's more.
I don't really rule them as mean girls as much as obnoxious pain in the ass people.
Mm.
Heel Trish. I feel like we've used that excuse a few times now, but heel Trish was very mean girlish.
It's like you haven't been listening to the entire conversation.
It seems like we're going with Bliss, Lay Cool, Trish, and then a fifth.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of who that one would, because obviously, if we're going to keep Stephanie on the outside of it, then maybe.
Because the Bella Twins were kind of like that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe,
but they can't both fit in there. You'd have to boot Trish out and put both the Bella Twins or something.
I guess you could. I mean, it's always kind of been the general opinion that Nikki probably fits into that category more than Brie does. Could we put Melina could be in that?
Yeah, she was quite a. I feel like the default heel for that era though is just catty mean girl.
Yeah.
This is a stupid one, but let's try to figure this out. Which 5 people would you pick for Team 4 Horsemen?
Well, Rick, Arn, for sure.
Yeah, Rick and Arn obviously would be the two steps.
I'm putting Tully. I'm putting Benoit. And Barry Windham.
And I'd probably agree with Tully and Barry Windham. I don't know if I would.
You want Mongo on there?
Well, I'm not saying Mongo specifically, but maybe Sting could be in it.
Yeah, but Sting was in it for an angle.
Yeah, but
all right.
You want Luger on there, don't you, Callum?
Well, no, I kind of think. Well, what's the difference? The funny thing about the 4 Horsemen is that for a long time there were 5 of them. It's just that they used to.
You just put the original 4 in JJ.
No, you put the
the Barry Windham 4
you put the original 4 and then I'd go Barry Windham and then put Ole Anderson in as well. So it'd be both Andersons, Tully Blanchard, Barry Windham, and Ric Flair.
See, the reason I go with Benoit is because I really do think he was a Horseman probably longer than either Ole or Barry.
I'm looking at the list right now. I think at the very least we would rule out David Flair, Butch Reed, Kendall Windham.
Paul Romer's got to be in it, of course.
Butch Reed?
Yeah, apparently he was associated with them. I think that we wouldn't go with Kurt Hennig because there's other people that kind of fit that a little bit more. I think.
Yeah, he was hard to give him his spot.
Sid,
he stabbed Arn.
I
don't think they'd get along very well.
The whole Sting of the thing. It makes sense to me. Flair, Arn, Ole, Tully, and Windham. That makes sense. If you wanted to replace a couple of them, I'd maybe take out Windham and I don't know, Ole, or put in Luger and Sting or something. I don't know. No, maybe not Sting. It's actually kind of tough. I mean, Flair's obvious. Arn Anderson's obvious. Those are 2 guarantees. J.J. Dillon not competing.
Yeah, he's on the outside with them. But yeah, I'd probably there's plenty of argument to be made to maybe in terms if you want to get the best match out of it, you probably would put Flair, Anderson, Blanchard, Windham, and Benoit together. Maybe you put Malenko in as well in place of Tully, depending on what your taste is.
I got a couple more I want to see if we can squeeze in here. Team Fake Gimmick. You got fake Undertaker, fake Kane, fake Razor, fake Sin Cara, fake Diesel. That's
Fake Undertaker
5.
should be in it because he main evented the SummerSlam.
Absolutely.
Well, that's 5. Can we think of any more? Or are they the 5?
There's
So
fake Sting.
Oh,
Yeah,
fake
there's fake
Sting,
Sting.
yeah.
There's Gilbert. Which
I
doesn't count
don't-
as fake Goldberg.
That works. I would.
I think
count
it's
that.
parody. I think that's not like the
Okay.
fake kind of thing.
Trying to
Although
think.
Diesel and Razor are kind of on that. At the very least, we
and-
know Kane, Sin Cara, and Undertaker are all on the same page. And
well,
Sting.
I kind of class like the Razor Ramon and Diesel thing more because they were just there to actually replace the characters, so it's not really a parody of them. It's just
Yeah, if it would have
almost like
worked,
their
they would have
parody.
kept it.
Yeah, they would have kept going with it. Yes, I'm trying to think of any other ones that have been fairly prominent. No, I can't really think of too many other ones.
For that matter, I'd probably just go, it's WWE, let's take Sting out and just do Diesel, Kane, Razor, Sin Cara, and Undertaker. I'd probably go with that.
Is it weird that the real Kane is teaming with the fake?
Yeah, I can't think of anybody else other than
No,
that.
yeah, they are. It
Because
is very limited.
There wasn't like a
guess
fake Rey Mysterio. There wasn't like a fake... I'm trying to think like masked people they can get away with a lot more, obviously. There wasn't like a fake Mankind.
Well, Edge and Christian won the tag titles as the conquistadors.
I mean, I'd argue that this is a fake Mankind.
It's true.
I might hold that up there.
He's a fake Mankind that really likes Kane.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, we have a lot that we like could really dive deep into that I think I'm going to save for another one, like the Team Masked Superstars, for instance. I'm going to toss a couple ideas here. I want you guys to pick which one, or one of the... Cause we only have a little bit of time to do a couple more. But we've got like Team Superhero Gimmick. We've got Team Fitness Guru. For some reason, we have Team.
Yeah, it's the best.
People that are tag team specific. Guest 5 had a couple ideas of like Team Ruthless Aggression era and like any of the other eras, the Golden Era, New Gen Era, Attitude Era, that kind of thing. Team Dancers. We got Team Ladies Man. Clowns Are Us. The $1 Million Team.
We kind of did Clowns Are Us.
Kind of fits into the funny thing.
Well, are there any other like clown ones? I mean, it would be that like Kazarni.
It'd be Kazarni, Doink,
Fantasia.
ICP,
Fantasia.
and ICP. There we go.
Yeah, you could put ICP in there. Trying to figure any other like clown types.
Dink.
Oh yeah, we could put.
Well,
Dink
Dink
in
comes with Doink.
Stinkapink.
I almost feel like you could put Men in the Mission in there just because they did that. Weren't they Team
were
Doink at one
Doinks
point?
at a Survivor Series.
Yeah. And they kind of look like they would fit that kind of mold. And it also gives an opportunity to put Mabel on another team.
Yeah, we haven't
So-
said Mabel.
Well, let's talk about Team Fat Guys. Not necessarily Team Super Heavyweights. I think we can come back to that another time. But if it's just the guy is his gimmick is he's a fat guy.
Well,
Yoko.
that's Yokozuna has to be on it. You probably would put Mabel on it.
Bastion Booger.
Bastion Booger is a possible, yeah. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't put Vader, for instance, on Team Fat Guy.
No, because he's a monster.
Hold on. No, this dude cut a promo who just said, I'm just a big fat piece of shit. I think he should absolutely be a Team Fat Guy.
No, but he was athletic. He could actually do stuff. Like, it's like the idea that just these guys, like, just moving their entire body just shakes, that type of...
I'd put
that type of
Rikishi
fat
on
guy.
there.
I don't know. Rikishi
Yeah,
just...
he's athletic as fuck.
Yeah, he actually looked quite... For a big guy, he actually looks pretty...
He jumped
Weirdly
off
in
the
shape.
stage.
But he did
Yeah.
a whole gimmick of I've got my big fat ass that I'm gonna put on your face.
That's true too.
Like his main thing was he's wearing that outfit and he's showing
I'm
off his big fat
I'm wearing a
ass.
thong and I'm gonna put my ass in your face.
I think you'd have to include 2006 Big Show.
Oh, was that when he was at his heaviest?
Yeah, that's when he was just... Like, when he was ECW champion and that title belt looked like like a napkin, pretty much on him or something. It just like he was. I think he was probably touching like 550 pounds at that point. I mean, in that case, like I would obviously go back to like the UK side of things with Giant Haystacks and Big Daddy were huge as well. But you could also do like Haystacks Calhoun was huge. You could put someone
Bundy's
like
huge.
Yeah, Bundy was big.
Big Dick Johnson.
No.
I mean, he was big in certain areas. Trying to think of any other like just really huge.
We haven't said Andre. Andre, he's fat.
He's more of like Team Giant, I think, for me.
I think maybe like Earthquake and Tugboat could be on it.
Natural disasters, Earthquake, even a little bit more, I think, than
there's a big fat guy who I'm the Earthquake because I'm fat and when I move, the room shakes.
You know what? Yeah, Earthquake's got to be on that for that.
Or what about Akeem?
Ooh.
So like you put
Nah, you know what? That's tough. One Man Gang, I would say no. Akeem, he really was kind of like, look at this weird outfit on this fat guy.
I mean, he was wearing essentially the Homer Simpson movie.
Yeah, the movie.
So
Dusty?
No.
American Dream Dusty is pretty.
I mean, Dusty's fat, but like, he's not. Like, wow, I've never seen anybody so fat in my life, you know? Scott Steiner's not looking at Dusty and saying, badasses. You know, that's not happening.
Kamala. This is stupid. I'm looking at Kamala. He might be. You know, I'd probably take him out because he's not really.
I mean, oh no, I don't know. Maybe I should make that topic. Those people that I haven't said anything, but those people that know it well enough know what I just said. So basically, it can go with that.
He's not the type of person I would think would go with Team Fat Guy. I think he'd go more for like horribly racist character.
Well, yeah, you could put Akeem on that one as well. Him and Akeem would fit him quite well on that too. You probably put in I mean, Akibono technically wrestled for New Japan for a little while.
And he was fat. He wore a diaper on TV. He did a sumo thing.
It's funny. I'm looking up. I just typed fat wrestlers. And some of these are on the Google image search. They've got Baron Corbin on there.
Aww.
They've got Matt Morgan. It's like, come on, these guys weren't fat wrestlers.
Yeah.
Would you put
Priscilla Kelly's on there? Why is Priscilla Kelly on
fuck
this?
You.
This is ridiculous. Kevin Owens. I mean, he's big, but he's not like the fat guy gimmick. You know?
Bam Bam.
Yes, because he can work too.
I think Earthquake's a guarantee. I think that Rikishi should go on there for being that. I think Mabel. I think Bastion Booger. Yoko, maybe.
Alright, if we're just going to go with just obscenely fat, you got to do Yoko. Bastion Booger's whole thing was, I'm going to bring a pizza box to the ring. Mm-hmm. So I'd go with Booger. Earthquake and Typhoon. And then I guess Mabel, because he was fatter than Andre.
Yeah, I'd honestly go Yokozuna. I'd go Big Daddy V as opposed to Mabel.
Oh,
just because you can see the fat rolls all over
so
him.
much bigger than.
Yeah. I'd go Earthquake. I mean, you have to have Yokozuna because his gimmick for a little while was that he wanted to be the fattest wrestler that ever lived, so he has to be on. Earthquake. I still think 2006 Big Show needs to be on it just because of how much he had gone let go, and. Yeah, then I'd probably put Bastion Booger because what was he other than just a big fat guy?
He's a guarantee. He has to be on there.
He had a hump.
I think we got enough time for one more, so I think we should probably do something a little bit more on the serious side.
All right, well, let's just round it out like this. What is your dream Survivor Series team? You can go back in time and grab anybody from any era. What is your personal Survivor Series dream team?
So this is the dream team, essentially.
Yeah, this is the Time Machine dream team.
Ooh. I mean, I know for sure Shawn Michaels is on my team. Would you classify it the 5 best wrestlers like that would work as a team, or like, my 5 like favorites?
Yeah, like well, whatever it is for you. Like if it's like man, if I could just see, Ministry Taker and like 92 Brett, whatever it is for you.
Ooh. I got a bunch of options to do with this. I might go back and change this, but I think, looking at my potentials right now, I think I'd go Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Bret Hart, Mick Foley, specifically Mick Foley, not like Mankind. And my fifth one might be Edge.
So for me, it would be 97 Shawn, 2003-ish Evolution era Hunter, 2006 Edge, probably 02 Jericho, but I'm really liking what he's doing now. And that last one, because even though it was late in his run, I think this was like the best he'd ever been, 2008 Undertaker.
I'm going to replace Edge with Macho Man.
Ooh, see, that he'd probably be right at the cutoff for me.
It's tough.
Callum's got Kurt Angle.
Oh, obviously I've got Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle.
I have about 2006 Kurt Angle. Before he completely fell off the wrestling machine Kurt Angle. I have 2004 Eddie Guerrero.
Fair.
I'd put like late 90s Rey Mysterio.
Cool.
Just because he was like lightning quick at that time. He's just lightning quick at that sort of time, so it just would add so much flair to the team. I don't care if he's outside WWE. I'd put nowadays Kazuchika Okada.
I was expecting that.
Because he's just the best. And I'd probably put best in the world Chris Jericho on that as well.
Like it.
Just because, I mean, there's so many options. That's kind of me thinking off the top of my head. If I'd sat down and thought about it a little bit more, like I could potentially put like a Brock Lesnar on that type of thing of like just after his return in 2012, that sort of thing. Maybe I'm trying to think of a few other ones that might stick out. Like Savage could definitely get onto that. Maybe,
Benoit barely missed the cut for me. Like Benoit is another one who's just like, man, this dude defined why I love this as a kid.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some people that kind of would maybe work together as well, because I'm kind of want to get both Mysterio and Guerrero on the same team, because I know they work well together. So.
And Tony, we're giving you plenty of time to think, so you better have answers that aren't Mabel and Bam Neely.
No, I know mine. It's HBK, Undertaker, Bret Hart, Foley, and Macho.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't think of any. Everybody else that I've been thinking of, I've been like, you know what? I can't take anybody off that list to put them on there. Like, I'm a fan of Jericho. Too bad you got HBK. Like, I kind of feel like that's a good balance where it's like Michaels is like the dick. Bret Hart is kind of like the
hero,
like the uber babyface wrestler. Foley is like the sympathetic, funny kind of character out of the bunch. Macho Man's like that old school legend to put in there, and a lot of like the hype man behind the whole thing, and Undertaker's the dark part of the whole thing, and kind of like the big man that's going to round it all out.
I mean, part of me's considering switching Okada for a couple of other New Japan guys, like, because I'm thinking, is it going to be Okada, is it going to be Ishii or Tanahashi instead? But I probably would still stick with Okada. I mean, I like Ibushi. I just don't really have as much connection with him as some of the other ones. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with the five that I have right now until I go to sleep and think of a few other people and thought, fuck, I should have said them instead.
Well, for that matter, the things we haven't said yet, just for people that are interested, I don't know when we would get a chance to do this again. Again, of course, if you want to make sure that we definitely do this, the Patreon is the way to do it. Because otherwise, we might not get a chance to do it until next Survivor Series. That's how like much that we can be busy, especially now that like AEW has pay-per-views all the time and WWE has pay-per-views all the time. That really kills. This channel used to have 3 out of 4 weeks every month was some kind of extra main event. Now it's like once every 2 months almost. So just to give you an idea of some things that we didn't get around to, the foreign fanatics, and then there's obviously Mexico, Japan, Russia, China, Canada, Samoa, any location-based stuff. There's people with a boxer gimmick, people that are talkers, the King's Court, the Hulkamaniacs, the Heenan family, the Natural Disasters. A big one that we didn't get around to doing, the Corporation or the Authority, like the McMahon group, Team Jobbers, the Oddities, Giants, Super Heavyweights, Cruiserweights, Muscular Guys, the Perfect Team, Team Psycho Bitches, because that's another thing that they've done a lot of, Team Jobber, I already said that one, the Smart Wrestlers, like Team Brain, the Stupid Wrestlers, second generation, third generation, superhero gimmicks, psychopaths, like Sid and Mankind and Kane and so forth, musicians, if you really want us to have Man Mountain Rock on one of these. There's the suggestions from Guest 5, like the Class of 2002, the NXT 5. Like, there's so much variety that we could do here. Kind of the same, it's like Mount Rushmore. Although it's a little bit less of, does this one fit the mold as like something that represents everything? It could just be like, I think this person works on a better team, like that kind of thing. We could do so many more additions to this and not even get close to done. So if you want to make sure we do, Patreon, or wait until next year, I guess, maybe. And if you have any other suggestions and teams that you'd like to see us do in the future, drop those comments below, and I'll keep a backlog of this for future reference. I like the idea behind this. I'd like us to do this again, and if you think that this was a great thing, let me know that as well. If you hated it, and you think that this is a terrible segment, let me know that as well. I'm always willing to listen to constructive criticisms. Yeah, I think that kind of rounds us out. We're at like just about 2 hours, it seems. So, any other things you guys want to toss out here?
Just on the plugs stand, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DudeFelice. Check out everything I'm doing with WrestleZone.com and the WrestleZone Daily, and Fightful.com over the weekend, any wrestling news during the week, and 2001 Wrestling Odyssey. But to tell you more about that, here's Carol Wiggins.
2001 A Wrestling Odyssey, our retro podcast where we go back to the year 2001, check out all the news and events that were taking place at that time. So we have monthly episodes that are up on the Smark Out Moment archives if you want to find them on YouTube or on any other feed that you listen to us on. And this month, for November, we'll be looking at Survivor Series 2001, as well as a little bit in Rebellion and some of the other just news and events that were taking place at that time. You can check out the power rankings as well as any other weekly article on smarkoutmoment.com because it's always good content. And follow me on Twitter at Wikimeister14.
Alrighty, everybody, that'll do us in for this one. Make sure that you pay attention to what's happening next on the channel, which will be the hot tags next week. And then we're going to have to get into our predictions for the TakeOver War Games event and the Survivor Series event. And then, of course, TakeOver War Games and Survivor Series will happen. So that's going to be hitting you next week. And if you want to know when those videos get posted, then you should subscribe on Facebook and Twitter at Smark Out Moment. You should check out the pages on smarkoutmoment.com. And the YouTube channel is something that you should be subscribing to as well. And you should ring that bell for the notifications to be aware specifically of when those get posted and when they're fully published and everything that goes along with the processing side of things like that. And if you follow us on iTunes or anything like that, then leave a rating. And just tell us what's up. Tell us what you'd like to see. Tell us your thoughts on this. And we will see you next time. This has been another Smark Out Moment. And we're being counted out.